folks, this is Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're watching WGS-TV. Tough guy.
Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer and ZFX-TV. I'm the WrestleGamer, Don't Be Billy Boudreaux, and this is going to be the Monday Night Raw review for the week of April 28th, 2014. I'm going to introduce the panel for this week's Monday Night Raw review. Ladies and gentlemen, making his return to WGS-TV, he is the hardcore host of Hardcore Wrestling Radio, the hardcore one, Rick Head. Rick, how you doing?
I'm doing right, Billy. Thanks for having me.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, our resident music mogul from YouTube.com/LanceMossTV. He is the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Let's have some fun.
Well, speaking of someone who probably didn't have any fun, the opening segment of Monday Night Raw, John Cena coming out, and then we have the whole children choir serenading along with the Wyatt family. John Cena, you know, he's got the whole. The only thing I'm going to say this, though, is for those of you who didn't watch it, one, it was creepy as fuck. But you know, there were a couple of things about that. You know, they're playing on John Cena, you know, always being for the kids, and now they did it something with the Wyatt family with a children's choir, which was, again, supposed to be a dig at John Cena's character. They turn the lights out, and next thing you know, the entire children's choir is all wearing sheet masks like Eric Rowan. Apparently, they don't want anyone to see the facial hair they all have. And secondly, I hope, Rick, that the child that was sitting on Bray Wyatt's lap was his kid, because if not, they better pay those parents a hefty sum for some serious psychological therapy bills they're going to be having to go through with him.
Well, you know, first I'm going to say this was probably one of the best Raw openings I've seen in a long, long time. I thought it was a brilliant. Now, keep in mind, I am not a big fan of Bray Wyatt at all. But when I saw, you know, John Cena coming out and saying, you know, why would you guys pit me against all three Wyatts, you knew right then that last week's, you know, voting on the app was rigged. So that tells you right there that that's rigged. And then when they had, of course, as you said earlier, when they had all the kids come down and serenading the whole world in his hands, again, that's, of course, shows you that John Cena's primary target fans is children. So, again, brilliant, brilliant segment. Got to give it a 5 out of 5.
A lot of people were thinking we were going to see a heel turn from John Cena at that point in the show, Rick. Were you thinking the same thing?
There was definitely a tease. I was like, wow, you know, you could see, you know, I think John Cena, if he wanted to at any time, could do a heel turn. But right now, it's still why. There's no point in it. It doesn't make sense. He is right now the #1 merch seller, so it doesn't make sense.
Yes. Well, up next, the tag team titles on the line. Usos taking on RybAxel. I really thought they were going to do something like this for Extreme Rules. You know, have a tag team championship match, pitting these two teams at Extreme Rules. Instead, we did it. They did it last night on Monday Night Raw. There was a spot there, you know, the jumping over the top rope spot with the Usos, and I think it was either Jimmy or Jay Uso. I think it might have been Jay Uso who was selling his ankle. You know, I started getting a lot of questions. You know, is it legit or is it work? You know, when they showed the replay, I actually watched it closely. He looked like he didn't fall. He fell the right way. You know, it didn't look like anything went wrong. And to me, it was just a work. You know, and Jay Uso sold it brilliantly. And but I will say this though. Lance, I really didn't expect to see a tag team title change right at then. You know, if they would have done a pay-per-view though, the chances might have gone up maybe a little bit for a tag team title change, but on a Monday Night Raw, your go-home show to Extreme Rules, I didn't think that was going to be happening.
No, and honestly, I think it's a work injury to hide a legitimate injury, because if you noticed, he did have his upper thigh taped. So I think he pulled his groin muscle, and they're just trying to prior to the match. And they just had to do that so it wouldn't be like, hey, why's he limping? But yeah, awesome match. Yeah, if it would have been at Extreme Rules, new champions probably.
Well, Sheamus was set to take on Titus O'Neil. O'Neil ambushes him from behind before the matchup even gets started, and next you know, they ring the bell, and within, I want to say, about 30 seconds to a minute, Sheamus hits a Brogue kick on O'Neil and pretty much wins that one. Pretty much cut and dry there. I don't know what was the point of it. You know, maybe they're trying to assert maybe a new viciousness side to Titus O'Neil in that instance by doing something like that, but having him lose in like 30 seconds to the Brogue kick, you know. Well, Daniel Bryan lost to the Brogue kick in 18 seconds at a WrestleMania, and look where he's at right now, WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So maybe it's something in the future for Titus O'Neil. Who knows? Who knows beyond that? But next up, a feud with that we've been wanting to see. You know, a matchup Cesaro and Jack Swagger. Not that bad of a match, other than the fact that once again, you know, Rick, a lot of fans, you know, have been getting on Paul Heyman's case about him restating the obvious over and over again. But they need to look at it from this perspective, Rick. Is that what's drawing major heat on him? And the fans get aggravated when he says it. And you know what? It works. And if it works, Rick, in my opinion, they shouldn't change it.
I have to agree with you, but also to a point. Like, I think it was last week when he said it over and over and over. I think even Raw cut out halfway during his promo, and then he came back and he's still saying it over and over. It's like, all right, you know what? Say it once or twice, but you don't have to say it 15 to 20 times. Enough is enough, really. Even I am not getting pissed off because he's saying it because, like, he beat The Undertaker. I'm getting pissed off because he's just saying it 50,000 times. Enough is enough. One time is enough.
Yeah, but isn't it accomplishing the same thing that he needs to do, whether it's what's in the statement or the fact that he's repeating it over and over again that's getting him the heat?
Not quite, because all it really does for me is I just go take a piss. It's a piss break.
Well, Cesaro gets the win with a German suplex of all things, but we're gonna see them more later in the evening. But one thing we have seen over the past couple of weeks is, you know, the hints at a breakup of the Rhodes brothers, considering what's happened with Cody Rhodes and Goldust. Cody Rhodes took on Alberto Del Rio, and he ends up losing thanks to the cross ArmBreaker. And Goldust was out there. He was trying to console his brother. Cody Rhodes didn't want to have anything to do with it. Lance, people keep saying, you know, that this is leading to a match up somewhere down the line. They would think maybe at a major pay-per-view or something like that. But now, do you see that? You know, do you see a breakup of the Rhodes brothers happening anytime soon?
Oh, the way it's looking, yeah. But excuse me. But yeah, they're definitely building toward it. Like, I even asked the Studley man Ashley, like, last night, because we were watching the Rocks in the call together. It's like, why did he push him? I was like, why? But yeah, it's the brother versus brother angles works. It's an angle as old as time. They team up, get some level of success, then they break up, and they feud. It's an angle as old as time.
Exactly. Up next, I still ask the question: why does a valet like Lana, who's supposed to be the ravishing Russian, which I honestly don't see, to be honest, she's probably a 3 in my opinion, you know, and that's being kind. That's being very, very kind. But why does a valet have her own theme just to intro Alexander Rusev, her wrestler? I mean, did Jimmy Hart ever have his own theme to, you know, and go out and intro, you know, Honky Tonk Man or the Hart Foundation or even Greg the Hammer Valentine? No, that never happened. You know, but I'm sorry, Rick?
Well, the reason why is I think because Jimmy the Hart or, you know, Bobby the Brain Heenan, well, although they may have been wrestlers in their past, I think Lana. No.
Jimmy the Hart and Bobby the Brain. Well, Bobby the Brain Heenan had some in-ring work done. Jimmy Hart never.
I know that. That's why I'm saying some of them, not all of them. I was saying I was just making an example. The point is, they were one of them. Bobby the Heenan may have been past wrestlers. But Lana, I believe, was an NXT wrestler. I believe that that may be her theme when she becomes a wrestler somewhere down the line. Right now, they're just using her for wrestling, for a manager. So if you see where I'm going with that.
Yeah, I do. What we saw out of this one was just basically a build for Rusev and taking on Woods and R-Truth. Rusev was about to lock on the accolade on Xavier Woods. R-Truth interferes, causing disqualification, and basically, putting R-Truth and Woods over on Rusev in a way. And that kind of signifies, if you think, traditional wrestling logic from what we've seen in the past, usually, if they go over on the go-home show, it's not going to happen on the pay-per-view. But again, that's just traditional wrestling logic. Sometimes it really don't apply too much to today's wrestling. So that's why I called it traditional wrestling logic. I'm not going to go out there and say, oh, I hate Cena because everybody hates Cena and they want him to change. No, I'm not even going to go that far. Next up, okay. Can anyone really explain to me what the hell is a WLC match? What the... Yes, Lance?
Okay. I figured it out. It's probably a little table, a step ladder, and a little bitty chair, I'm guessing.
A booster seat?
Yes.
Oh, jeez. Well, anyway, for probably the first time we've seen in a long time, Lance, was a victory by Bray and Heath Slater and Drew McIntyre defeating Los Matadores. But you know what? I just got to call out Hornswoggle on that leap he did off the ring apron. He just looked like a flying rock.
Yeah. I mean, leprechauns don't have the power to fly. I'm sorry, they just don't.
Yeah, but El Torito kind of showed him up in a sense. But that's going to be our kickoff show, guys and gals. A WLC match between Hornswoggle and El Torito. If you guys are watching this right now, and if you have any thoughts on, to expand on what Lance was talking about with the WLC match, please put it in the comment section below, because I'm having a headache just trying to think about what they're going to do at Extreme Rules, Lance.
All I can say is those poor bastards.
Who, Hornswoggle and El Torito, or us having to watch it?
Little bastard and El Torito.
All right, now Stephanie McMahon wanted to apologize to Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella for what happened last week on Monday Night Raw. That really didn't, it didn't it really kind of went the way I thought it was going to go. There's going to be two options. Either Daniel Bryan was going to go out there and go to the ring and get attacked by Kane, or they were going to subject Brie Bella to harm in a way, and that's kind of how they did it. Now, Brie Bella working a match with Paige to be really went really well. It was a really good work match, but Lance, the predictability of Kane's appearance was just too big of a factor for me, and it was just kind of expected to see that. Now, dragging her down and into the hole, we've seen that so many times in the past. We've seen it time in and time out. But Rick,
Not here.
Rick, now despite the fact that Paige and Brie Bella worked a really good match in my opinion, the appearance of Kane, the predictability factor of it, do you think it kind of just takes away from what transpired, or do you think it kind of helped the angle with Daniel Bryan and Kane?
I think, like I said, it kind of does a little bit of both. What I was really hoping for was Brie Bella winning the title. That would have been nice, and then it could have happened afterwards. They could have done both. Because let's be honest with Paige. Paige is a good wrestler, but she's still very young.
Good?
Well,
good. There's a reason why she was one of the longest reigning NXT Women's Champion. She's by far one of the best female talents they got, and that outshined Oksana. But here's the thing. She's got more talent than Oksana, more talent than Alicia Fox, more talent than Rosa Mendez.
Yeah, but you know what? Look who you're comparing her to.
He's got a point.
Look who you're really comparing her to. You're not comparing her to, a lot of the upper class. And you know what? She's only 21. She's not bad, but she's not great. I've seen some of her moves, and I'm like, okay. And it's like, all right, she has potential, but she's still very, very young. And she definitely...
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. The story is that she's been wrestling for 8 years. She's been wrestling since she was 13. She's no she's no greenhorn. No, she's not green behind the gills. She's been in the wrestling industry for 8.5 years.
I know that a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but I really don't see it. If she is a greenhorn, she looks very green in the ring. Because it doesn't show. And I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. I know people say it, but she does not show at all. Okay, well, and I know a lot of people have said, "Wow, Paige," and I kind of looked at some of her past matches, and I'm like, not too bad, especially in NXT. But I knew once she came up to WWE, they were going to just limit her, and that's exactly what she looks. She looks limited.
I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I really, it seems like to be a seamless transition from NXT to Monday Night Raw. I mean, considering the fact, there was so much hype into her, and the first match I really got to see with her was at NXT Arrival when she took on Emma, which was by far you could take any Divas match they've had as of late in the WWE, and that matchup they did with Paige and Emma at NXT Arrival clearly outclassed and outshined anything that they've done with the Divas division as of late. So to me, in all honesty, Rick, Paige is a breath of fresh air because Paige has proven that you can be hot and talented in the ring to make it as a WWE diva, in my opinion. The days, they need to bring those days, the days of Trish Stratus, Lita, the days of those divas, when they're also hot and they can wrestle. We can bring those days back. We just don't need the dainty little divas who go around. Now, the Bellas have improved. Brie Bella especially, she has improved a great deal. Ever since they came back. And I've been wanting to say, I didn't want the Bellas to come back, but ever since they came back, I've actually been impressed.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I still think that Naomi, Natalya are still some of the great wrestlers, but they never really got their shot.
Hold on. Oh, yeah, Naomi. I'm going to say, if you were going to say Cameron, I was going to slap you in the face. I'm like, what are you talking about?
No. She can't wrestle her way out of a wet paper bag. No.
Yeah.
And I have to agree with you. Like I said, Paige definitely has a lot of potential. I just think, maybe some more time. Yeah, absolutely, and like I said, I mean, I wouldn't put her on the top. Why she has the WWE title, I think she right now should be a transitional champion. I don't see her holding that title for long, honestly.
Well, up next, guys and gals, the finals of the Intercontinental Championship #1 Contenders Tournament. The Bad News Barrett and RVD. I gotta say, great match, but the involvement, they kind of led to it from last week. When RVD and Paul Heyman kind of had that little confrontation of sorts of words, and it was kind of almost expected to see Paul Heyman kind of lash back with the usage of Cesaro, and that's kind of what happened. Zeb Coulter also gets involved in it when RVD turns down his help of sorts, and Cesaro ends up costing him. He pushes him off the top rope, or kind of a distraction from the 5-star frog splash, and next boom, the bullhammer elbow, and Bad News Barrett is now the current #1 contender. And it was something I said a couple of weeks ago, Lance. It really seems to be, in my opinion, that the Bad News Barrett gimmick is really starting to gel with the fans.
Yeah, it's definitely getting over. It was not intended to as a face gimmick, but it's turning itself fan favorite.
Rick, do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I even said a couple of weeks on the show that I think it's that Bad News clap is what I've been calling it. That's what's kind of really doing. All you really need is that one little thing to get over with the fans. With Daniel Bryan, it was the yes, yes, yes. Or the no, and I think sometimes when you have that one thing, that's what you need to get it over. And he's figuring out it's the clap.
Yeah. But up next, the main event, it was Roman Reigns of the Shield set to take on Randy Orton of Evolution. Rumors have been going on all week long about Ric Flair's appearance, and he did appear, but somebody let him buy the mini bar, because man, Ric Flair has done much better promos than what he did last night, and it seems like he just got into the Crown Royal, and he was just I don't know what else to say about it, Rick, but he was wasted beyond compare.
What else is new with Rick? And I'm sorry, I have nothing nice to say about Ric Flair. The man, people who come out and they still mark out over him because it's Ric Flair, it's Ric Flair. Well, you know what? When you come out wasted like that, you know what? He's just a drunken old man. That's all he is. Period. And I'm sorry. You know what? If it's not okay for for Jeff Hardy to come out stoned to a match, it's not okay for Ric Flair to come out drunk. Enough said. And you know what? I'm sorry. WWE has seen him come out drunk like this more than occasions. They should know by now.
And which kind of ultimately affected Jim Ross's career in the WWE and his reputation because of that incident as well.
You know what? And I don't think it should have affected his career. I mean, it shouldn't. You know what I mean? The WWE is the one who chose to hire him. So let me ask you now: whose reputation is that going to affect? Is that going to affect Triple H's career? Is his career going to be going home? Of course not.
Hell no.
Yeah. But anyway, well, speaking of Triple H, it was good to hear him talk, because last week, he sounded worse than John Laurinaitis after a BJ. I don't want to say the full thing because of where I'm at right now. I don't want people to get mad at me for it. But it was good to see that he got over that, thanks to the throat lozenges we so recommended on last week's review, Lance, if you remember that. But I gotta say, the match really just ends up getting thrown out, and it turns out to be just a big build for their big six-man tag. At first, it was Evolution getting over on Shield, and Shield turned around and turned out to be Shield getting over on Evolution, and it kind of made it hard to tell. Usually when you see one team go over on the go home show, we kind of see that the other one going over on the pay-per-view. We really didn't get that feeling at the end of Monday Night Raw this week, did we, Lance?
No, it's kind of up in the air. I mean, some people think this is going to be a good match at Extreme Rules.
Yeah, and definitely. Well, guys and gals, it's time to go to fan reviews for the Facebook fan reviews for this week's Monday Night Raw, and we do get one from our old friend Casey Cunningham. And Casey says, Dean Ambrose made me so mad tonight. He has zero respect for the United States title. Go back and watch the final match, and you can see him laying the title on the ground, face down. Terrible what they have done to it. And hoping the Ric Flair endorsement is a way to get the Shield to drop guard during the pay-per-view match, so Flair will help Evolution. Now that, Rick, in my opinion, that might have been what they were intending to do with having Ric Flair going out there if he wasn't so wasted beyond compare.
Maybe that's what he did. Well, I mean, he did actually go out there and endorse it, but I mean, even still, even Ms. Jack Shit, who comes on the show occasionally, was sitting down and she goes, he's wasted, isn't he? She could just tell. She goes, he is drunk, he is 6 shades to the wind drunk. And I'm like, yeah, he's drunk. Because at first I thought he was just being like Ric Flair, and I'm like, I took up because I was doing a report, and I stopped and I'm like, he is drunk. She's like, yeah, I'm Ric Flair. It was unreal. He couldn't even. He took up like 15 minutes of a promo.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, that the matchup didn't even start until like 15 minutes after 10, and that's usually when they sign off the air for Monday Night Raw. They really don't go beyond that. So that would explain why the matchup with Roman Reigns and Randy Orton seemed a bit rushed, because of what happened with Ric Flair. But speaking of that, it is now time to go into our overall scores and our picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw this week. The Go Home Show to Extreme Rules. And let me say this, I'm glad it was a go-home show, unlike what TNA did, having their last Impact not only be the go-home show to Sacrifice, but the build-up show at the exact same time. You know, so I'm glad that we didn't have to like find out what the matches are for the pay-per-view the night before. You know, you don't really do that. It's kind of a mistake in the wrestling industry, in my opinion. But however, with that being said, this was a creepy opening. Drunk Hall of Famer. Finding out about a WLC match. I kind of got a headache from that. But overall, it was a solid show, in my opinion. It gets a 3.57. I'm gonna give it an unusual score because it was kind of an unusual Raw. I'm gonna give it a 3.57 out of 5. Best match of the night. It's a toss-up because the Bad News Barrett RVD match was good. I really did enjoy Paige and Brie Bella before Kane showed up, because they seemed to work really well together. But a lot of fans had some hype in Roman Reigns and Randy Orton, but again, that didn't last very long. So I'm definitely going to give it to RVD and Bad News Barrett, because to me that was a really nice, solid match. I would give it to Roman Reigns and Randy Orton, but the fact of the matter is it was just so rushed because of what happened with Ric Flair being drunk on the microphone. It just kind of takes away from it. Worst segment of the night, finding out about that WLC match. I mean, huh? That's all I can say is, huh? I've never heard of a WLC match, but before Sacrifice from TNA, I never heard of a committed match either. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll see how WWE works it come Sunday. Let's go to Rick next, get his overall score and his picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw this week. Rick?
You know what? I'll have to give it a 3.5. It wasn't a bad Raw. The opening segment, I have to say, was by far one of the best opening segments of Raw I've seen in a long, long time. Like I said, absolutely A-plus opening. The worst segments, yeah, there was a couple of them. Ric Flair being drunk, I have to give that one. I'm sorry, but Damien Sandow coming in as Magneto.
Oh, you know what? I completely neglected to mention that as well.
Yeah, that was just absolutely. Well, you know what? Who could forget to mention that? That was a very forgettable segment, but it was just terrible, terrible. WWE in their celebrity segments is really just pathetic, but this one was exceptionally pathetic. So I think I'm going to have to put that as my worst segment of the night.
I feel bad for Damien Sandow.
And the sad thing is, I hate to say it, but his career is sinking worse than the franchise's reputation. We won't say it.
Wow.
That's back to you.
All right, and finally we're going to go to Lance next and get his overall score and his picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw. Lance?
Well, overall, I really enjoyed this show. I got to give it a 4. Worst segment, to me, the whole Heyman and Coulter trying to court Van Dam seemed a little forced. It's like, oh, come on. It's like, oh, come on. You want to be with us, Rob? No, dude.
One of us.
Anyway, best segment is kind of a tie between the Stephanie McMahon apology, Daniel Bryan, that whole set, that and the opening of the show. Just I can't. Those are both on the same. I can't decide, but that was just awesome. Best match, I gotta go Van Dam and Bad News Barrett.
Yep, and it is now set up.
Worst has to be Sheamus versus Titus.
Yeah, to a degree, yeah, I have to agree with you on that one because of the way it was worked.
Yeah.
But now it's got set up, and do we see Bad News Barrett getting the Intercontinental Championship? Only time will tell. as to where they go with this. As what we want to know now from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Monday Night Raw this week. What are your overall scores? What are your picks? Excuse me, for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw. I blame this. We want to hear from you guys out there. Be sure you put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and favorite this video. The hardcore host himself, Rick Head, is on HWR. Fans, Rick, where can fans check out more about HWR?
Of course, they can always check out my Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio. And always, please make sure you subscribe to us over at our YouTube page, at youtube.com/HWR Show.
Lance, what can fans expect to see when they come visit your channel over on youtube.com/LanceMossTV?
Album reviews, NASCAR discussion videos, random gourmet cooking videos, a little bit of guitar work, and whatever else pops into my head.
Fans, don't forget to like the Facebook page, facebook.com/WGS-TV, and don't forget to please subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer and youtube.com/ZFXTV Network if you haven't already. So for the hardcore host, Rick Head, and the incomparable Lance Moss from Lance Moss TV, I'm the WrestleGamer, Double B Bully Boudreaux, saying thank you very much for watching. P.S. Dixie Carter, have you shaved yet?
This broadcast has been brought to you by Shane Douglas's new wrestling federation. Oh wait, it just closed.